Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright Bengals recap show. I'm your host Malik Wright, joined as always by my unavailable co-host Daniel Alameda. Right? No, but Daniel's not here actually. But we still have a lot to discuss. Bengals got absolutely taken to the woodshed in the second half by the Kansas City Chiefs. Weren't able to muster up much on offense, and yeah, it brings to a close the Bengals playoff hopes. That all being said, I think that there's still a lot to look forward to. I think there's still a lot to build upon. I think Jake Browning was tasked with a lot, especially being a practice squad lifer and then getting the opportunity to become the backup quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals and then being the opportunity to be the starting quarterback for Cincinnati Bengals and really overachieving, I would say. So while I know it's disappointing for a lot of Bengals fans and a lot of Bengals fans are disappointed, um, there's light at the end of the tunnel, I'll say. And I know that's not might not be what a lot of people want to hear right now, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Number 9 will be back. Joe Burrow will be back in uniform. You hung in there with a tough Kansas City Chiefs team, Kansas City Chiefs team with championship medal, and albeit they're very healthy. And you still made them work for everything. They still had to rely on Harrison Butker to keep them in the game and to ultimately win the game for them. So I think that while, I understand people are going to be down, don't let this, carry into the new year for you because there's a lot to look forward to for the Bengals football team next year. Before we jump into all of that, make sure you guys do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content from the First Star Logistics Studio or when we go live from my in-home studio. First and foremost, want to wish each and every single one of you who are watching us live right now a happy new year. I hope that this is a fruitful one for you guys. And we appreciate you guys for tuning into whether it be State of the Jungle every single Wednesday, the sit down with Malik Wright, and just supporting the entire First Star crew, whether that's Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry or participating in the various giveaways First Star Logistics does. We greatly appreciate your support that you guys have given us. And remember, there is a giveaway taking place as well this week. Because remember, every single time Bengals play a game, First Star Logistics will be doing a giveaway of some sort. This week's giveaway vending machine. So be on the lookout for that. Head on over to First Star Logistics Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it, and do yourselves a favor. Enter in for the last chance to win. And then next week we'll wrap the giveaways up with a pretty awesome one as well. But let's go back to this game. I would say that the offense came out very much so in unison. They seem to have a good game plan. And then I think Spags definitely changed things up a little bit. They started, doing a little bit more man-to-man coverage and then pressuring Jake Browning, double teaming Jamar Chase, doing things to make Jake Browning hold the ball just a split second earlier while sending an extra blitzer to make life a little bit hard on him. Before there was like, almost treating him like we're going to see what this kid has. We'll see if he'll be able to beat us. And Jake Browning proved that he could dice them up if they stayed back in zone. If they stayed back and let him carve them up, Jake Browning proved that he could have success, which allowed the Kansas City Chiefs to be like, you know what, we got to change something up. We got to do something different, see what he has, which is why they had as much success as they had the second half of the game. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Listen, this is typically the part where I go in and I say, the coaching staff, yada, 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 this, that, and the third, and the play calling was horrible. I'll say this. For the people that was out there saying that Joe Burrow is a system quarterback, Joe Burrow is the system. Let's start there. There's a reason why you pay Joe Burrow $275 million guaranteed. It's the reason why he's the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. It's the reason why he's the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. It's the reason why he has the tag of franchise quarterback. It's for moments like this. Jake Browning did a fine job for what he was tasked to do. It was a hard job. It was a job that I think most backup quarterbacks in that situation would have had a tough time doing. He filled in admirably for Joe Burrow. He did a fantastic job. He did what a backup quarterback was supposed to do, which is why they have the tag backup quarterback versus starting quarterback, because it comes with limitations. It comes with, it comes with issues. I see some people saying in the comment section, Benjamin Harrison, I appreciate you, my brother. You're always in the comment. Zach killed the momentum by not kicking the field goal. Be real, Malik. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a problem with that. I had a problem with the play call, but I didn't have a problem with them going for it. Because for me, that showed that he put his nuts on the table. That showed to me that he wanted to win. That showed to me that this team wanted to win. And they realized, you know what? We can't go into Kansas City trying to say we're going to kick field goals and field goals with Kansas City and hope to win. I think maybe they played a little bit too much respect for the offense that Kansas City was putting out on the field, and maybe not enough respect for their defense. Hindsight is always 2020, but I'll never have a problem with being aggressive in Kansas City on the road, fighting for your playoff lives. Because guess what? If Joe Burrow was in there, we wouldn't have had an issue with him going for it. We would have said, it's number 9. And ultimately, you would hope that your head coach and your offensive play caller would have enough faith in, said quarterback, backup quarterback, starting quarterback to go for it in those situations. So I'm okay with them going for it. I'm not okay with the play call. But I don't think football comes down to one play call. I don't think it comes down to one play call. I think that there are things that they could have done to try to, maybe make life a little bit easier for Jake Browning, maybe for even some of the tackle. I mean, there was just a lot of blitzing. But for me, it was also just like, you don't know what you don't know, right? There was this clear things when it comes to like the pre-snap stuff, whether it be diagnosing blitzes, who's blitzing, that I think if Joe Burrow was in there, he would have had a lot more success than a guy like Jake Browning. I think it was easy for Spags to confuse Jake Browning. I think Joe Burrow has Spags' number, and I think that's been proven over time. The success that we've had against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Jake Browning, he's a young player. There was always going to be some growing pains. And I know that sounds like I'm giving it a cop out, but I'm not. I'm just saying, I think that maybe we got a little too ahead of ourselves. And I say I didn't feel that way personally, but I speak for, I think I'm a good voice for the Bengals community. I just think that we got to realize that Jake Browning is still who he is in a sense, right? And that's no knock at Jake Browning as well. I think he did a fine job, but I think you have to realize what you got at the end of the day. And that's the reason why in these marquee matchups against teams like the Bills, like the Chiefs, you want, your quarterback playing at such a high level. And Jake Browning, again, fine job, right? Was able to execute the offense. I love the fact that he got his legs more involved with stuff. But when it comes down to it, when you need a quarterback that's really going to separate himself from the pack, we didn't have that today. The Bengals didn't have that. The Bengals receivers, right? There were opportunities for them. There were passes that I knew if Joe Burrow was in there, he would have thrown, and he would have at least given his guys a chance. The same couldn't be said for Jake Browning, right? Because it's like sometimes you second guess yourself, you don't trust what you see, and you're like, you know what, should I throw that ball? I'm not going to throw that ball. And that's personally what I saw. I saw a guy that was hesitant at times. I saw a guy that was not wanting to make a mistake. And I don't know, for me, I think that was I understood that. Like I went into this game with the realization that this was going to be an uphill climb regardless. And again, guys, it's tough, right? The season ends and you obviously want to keep cheering, and there are things that you want to celebrate. But I think that it's important to keep everything within reason. That, Jake Browning did a great job. He gave the Bengals a fighting chance, gave the Bengals hope, because where we were a couple of weeks ago, where we thought the sky was falling and we thought everything was gonna, fall, we were gonna fall flat on our face. He gave us a fighting chance, and we were in there still. So I think those are my thoughts. I would say defense, for instance. I think the defense did a fine job. They were tasked with a lot. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City Chiefs offense started opening up at the end, started stretching us out vertically, seeing what type of success they could have. It was always I always thought this game was going to be a little bit tougher for our safeties, and I think that proved itself at points. I would have liked to see better tackling at points. I know there was a critical tackle that Jordan Battle missed. Obviously, got to get that cleared up. There were some missed tackle opportunities of getting Isaiah Pacheco down on the ground. I think they did a fine job towards the end of the game of giving this team a fighting chance. The offense just stalled out. And again, it goes back to what I was saying. I think Spags did a great job of heating up Jake Browning, making him hold the ball and making him just second guess what he was seeing. So I think that all in all, when we judge his performance, when we judge this team's performance against Kansas City Chiefs, I think, dare I say, man, I think that this might be about what you expected, or at least you should have expected going into a tough game against Arrowhead. That being said, I'll say this. I know there are a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans that are pretty pumped up about that. For if I were you guys, I wouldn't be as hyped, if that makes sense. I think that there you guys left a lot to be desired out on the football field. And I think that if you're in a dog fight, fighting tooth and nail at home, against a Bengals team without their starting quarterback and missing guys like DJ Reader and pivotal in key spots, I think that I think I'd be a little concerned, and that's not to be upset. That's just being honest. If I would I'd be a little concerned if I was City Chiefs fans for our chances going into the playoffs, especially since it'll be the first time in Mahomes' career where he has to go on the road in the playoffs. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs side of things. I thought Zachary Carter flashed a lot. The Bengals defensive tackle, second year, I believe. I think he flashed a lot today. I think he showed a lot of promise. Definitely still think we need more juice at the pass rush position. But all in all, I definitely think there was some missed opportunities, but I think our defense gave us a chance to win this game and be into it. So that's just my thoughts. Make sure you guys do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live. Do me a favor as well. Start dropping your questions down in the comment section. You guys know after every single game we start to answer your questions. We like to see what you guys are saying and sort of check the temperature. Um, Keep the temperature, sane, if you will. I'm gonna start reading some of these questions off, but yeah, I think it's just important to it's important just to remain even keeled. Never get too high, never get too low, and don't get too worked about this game. This game was always going to be a tough matchup for the Bengals. Not saying you should never ever go into a game expecting to lose, but I think it's just I think you should go into a game with your expectations being within reason. So that's just my thoughts. So I'm going to get to your questions right now, and yeah, we'll see what you guys are saying. So here we are. Let me see. Let me read some of this stuff off right now. Doing three things at once. So Benjamin Harris says, "Thanks, right? That's right, Malik. Keep it real with the fans as you always do. Appreciate you, my man. Always will try to. Always will try to, my man." Somebody Terrell C says the Bungles. Okay, I guess they're the Bungles after you know being in a dogfight with the Kansas City Chiefs, essentially losing by one possession. I guess they're the Bungles, but okay, man. Um, Timbo Slice 85. I love the name, my man. He says, "We had no business in the playoffs this year, anyways." I mean, I think it's tough, right? I think when you I think and hopefully the Bengals do this. I think roster construction should be such an important part of what they do. Um, Going forward, like they should be more mindful of that, right? When it comes to like, because like there's in no world when your starting quarterback goes out, or in any league where a star player goes out, where you should say, damn, that's a shot to our playoff chances, especially when you have as talented of a roster the Bengals have, and the firepower that they had. There's no world in which the Bengals playoff chances should have just been, you know, uh shot down essentially because of that. So Kevin K says we need some trench building for sure, and yeah, we need physicality. Where is that badass Pratt? Where is the tenacity? I hope we add some of those guys top of on top of just the guys. I'm guessing you're saying just the guys that are on the team. I'll say this, and I've said this before. I think our linebackers were sort of like thrusted into a spot where they were overthinking and overcomplicating things this year because you had two young players in the back end of the safety position, which made life a lot more difficult for them. So they were tasked with getting guys lined up, making sure that the everybody got the calls in defensively and stuff like that. So I think you might see a more uh and I would say a more lockstep defensive unit next year, is my opinion. Um, let's keep it going. What do you think happens with guys like T, Boyd, Cheeto, Reader next season? Okay, so here's my prediction. Um, I think T gets franchise tagged. I think Tyler Boyd is gone. I think Cheeto, unless he accepts like a really cheap 1 year prove it deal and wants to really be in Cincinnati, he's gone. I think Reader is going to be the big task. I think I know they value DJ Reader, but you have to ask yourself with the two blown quads, one in each leg, does that change things, right? If anything, the way the Bengals defense has performed without him, I think it would increase his value at the very least, make him very valuable on the Bengals list. I also think that there's a chance that Jonah Williams is back as well. Um, Akila the Great, appreciate you. You're always in here. When is the first mock draft of the season, Malik? Can we submit mock drafts for y'all to review on Discord, Twitter? You know what? I like that idea. I can definitely make sure that we do that. I love to hear from you guys. Love to see what you guys are on. I'm sure you probably have us drafting all offensive linemen, defensive linemen, something like that. But no, for sure, I'll definitely try to set up a channel to where that could definitely happen, so you guys can get more, more interactive with us, if you will. Somebody said Logan is washed up. I disagree. Um, Trade T for Adams or Jefferson. I disagree. Jake G, he was doubled all game. I'm guessing that you're talking about Chase. JG says, I'm really confused. Chase said with great authority and confidence that Casey had no one who could go one-on-one with him, yet he only received for 40 yards. I must have missed something. They were doubling him all game and as well. I think that was more so about what they were doing to Jake Browning. There were definitely opportunities that I know if Joe Burrow was in there, he would have had much higher of a receiving day. He was open a couple of times and there were a couple of missed throws, missed opportunities to get the ball to him. So I still don't think there's a person on the Kansas City Chiefs team that can guard Jamar Chase without defensive pass interference. And I think we see that time and time again. Chicken Genius says 420 says, you wouldn't trade T for Jefferson or Adams. You wild tonight, bro. Again, anytime I speak, you guys know I do have sources within the Bengals organization. I don't speak from fandom. Like they're not going to do that. Right. So like, I think it's sort of like a moot point to discuss that. They're not going to take on a price tag for Devontae Adams, who's making 30 plus million, knowing that they have to pay Jamar Chase 30 plus million. It just does not make a lot of sense. Justin Jefferson, I highly doubt the Minnesota Vikings are going to be looking to just part ways with him. He's a guy that they want to keep. He is their wide receiver one. So while it sounds good, um, it's not Madden at the same time. That's just my thoughts. Let's keep the conversation rolling. Need a replace for Hubbard. I don't think so. I think that you need to add another pass rusher, though. I think Hubbard is fine for what he adds. He's a very good run defender. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. Let's keep the conversation rolling with some more. Once T went out, they blanketed Chase 100%. Timbo Slice 85 says, who are you pulling for in the playoffs now that the Bengals are out? Much respect, Malik. Appreciate you, Timbo. To be honest with you, man, I think I'm pulling for the Bills. I hope the Bills make it in. I hope the Bills win the damn thing, man. That's for the AFC side of things. Although I must say, I think the Ravens are probably going to do it this year. They just look really, really good, man. And Lamar Jackson seems to be putting it all together. Now, we know in the past that the Ravens team we see in the regular season can disappear in the playoffs. And that could be a situation where we see itself. But yeah, I think the Eagles are the team to beat. I mean, not the Eagles. I said the Eagles. The Ravens are the team to beat. For the NFC, I would say I like the feel-good story of Dan Campbell. I'd like to see Dan Campbell do something if he can. But what about I think we might get Niners versus Eagles. That's what I think we're gonna get. I think we're getting Niners versus Eagles, man. And yeah, I said Niners versus Eagles. Why do I keep saying the Eagles? Because they're birds. They're both birds. That's why I keep saying it. I think we get Niners versus Ravens. That's what I think. And I think the Ravens wind up winning. I think Lamar fulfills his promise to bring a championship to Baltimore. Somebody says, why can't we roll Browning out of the pocket if they won't run the ball? Jake has proven he's not comfortable in the pocket. I agree. I think that's something that they try to do, but I think also different defenses provide different types of coverages, and it makes you maybe not as it makes you not want to do it as often as unless if you're going up against a team like the Vikings or you're going up against a team like the Colts or something like that, where you are going to have success with those type of things. Sometimes, every defensive coverage is different. Every team's pressure packages are completely different as well. Spags was always going to be a guy that was going to crowd the line of scrimmage to where I think Jake Browning didn't know all the time where the blitz was coming from. Definitely think at points he was probably seeing double, right? You got blitzes coming from the safety, you got blitzes coming from linebackers, you got blitzes coming from corners. You have no idea. But I think they did a good job today of confusing a young quarterback. I want to keep the conversation rolling. Somebody said, we need pass rushing 3-tech and more outside rush. Give me Josh Allen Jags. Funny, we were talking about that the other day on State of the Jungle. Man, he did play football in Kentucky, right? I definitely think the Bengals need to add to the pass rush department and see if they can get a little better with that. Defense needs better inside so not to get pushed back on runs. I think they need to get better on the inside. I think you could also get better on the outside as well, on the edges as well. Like, the fact of the matter is Trey Hendrickson can't be playing the high number of snaps that he has been playing. The same thing with Sam Hubbard. You want these guys to be able to have a rotation and guys that you can truly rely on, which is why you're so hopeful for Myles Murphy, who's disappeared a little bit last 2 weeks, I'd say, which is why you're hopeful for some of these guys to finally step up. You were hopeful for Joseph Asai. That didn't happen. You're hoping for Myles Murphy. You're still hoping to see his evolution on this defensive line, which is why you spent a premium pick on him when you did. So I definitely think that juice in the passers department is always going to be the calling card until it's not. Keeping the conversation rolling. Somebody said, Dada D says, I'm a root for the Ravens. Lamar legit. Listen, I got to be honest with you, man. Listen, AFC North, obviously, you're never rooting for teams in your own division, but um, I do remember how disrespectful people were to Lamar Jackson in the offseason. And see a guy like that prove everybody wrong. People saying he couldn't elevate his game as a passer. And to see him doing that is really inspiring, and it's really, really cool to see. So I'll never fix my face and say I'm rooting for him, but I'll say it's cool to see somebody prove the media wrong. Even though I'm a member of the media, I think that's pretty cool to see. Um, do you think this year we will finally get a real tight end and not another stopgap? I think they're going to try to address the tight end position. I'd love to see Noah Fant in stripes. I think that makes a lot of sense. He's a guy that can do everything. He's a guy that offers you the upside in the receiving game as well. And a guy has untapped potential. Um, he's been marred with bad quarterback play his entire NFL career. And could you imagine him, a guy like Joe Burrow throwing him the ball? I don't think this Bengals offense needs a crap ton. That's the thing. I think you need another running back, maybe. I think you need a tight end for sure. And I think you need to figure out the right tackle position. Just my thoughts. Pratt didn't have a single tackle. That's disappointing. Um, Somebody said Orlando Brown signing was a big mistake. I disagree. I think Orlando Brown has solidified the left tackle position. He's brought stability. He's been consistent. There have been games where it's tough, but the games that he's had tough matchups, it's been against some of the elite pass rushers that anybody would struggle against. But I've been impressed considering what we've had the last couple of years with the Orlando Brown signing, and I think he's giving you everything that you could ask for personally. Move on from Mixon, start Brown, fire Pollock. No, I think Mixon still offers a lot of juice, which he's has shown this year from a receiving game, from the running game when they lean on it. I definitely think Pollock and Zach, just from some tea leaves, they have different philosophies, if you will. Very curious to see what happens with that relationship. Uh, Chase Brown mixing, don't know where that's coming from. Yeah, and Mixon is a goal line, but that stutter step he takes kills it every time. Chase Brown should be the starter. I don't know, guys. I'm not really feeling that too much. I think that Chase Brown does offer a lot of juice. I think you're still waiting to see more from him before you're ready to give him the reins as the starter. Um, we need a three tech, 100%. That's something that the Bengals know that they need. They've been close to the position, I would say, last two off seasons. I think that the three tech position was at its best when we had Larry Ogunjobi, BJ Hill. You get those guys that people kind of forgot about or wrote off, and you form a cool tandem. Regardless, you need two three techs. I think you need obviously a full time starter and a guy that can come in relief that full time starter and spots. Just like you, ideally, you'd like that for the nose tackle position as well. Um, Ooh, you guys are on fire with the questions tonight. I appreciate it. If you guys do us a favor, we got over 130 people in this chat right now. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys want to spend your New Year's Eve listening to me talk, right? Like that. That's pretty cool. I don't think I'm that interesting, but I appreciate you guys. Um, Somebody says linebackers look like trash this year. Bad tackling. Teams got big gains on them, especially the run. Yeah, I mean, and we talked about that. I think there was a little bit over over complicating some things. And I think it's a lot about just making sure you're over communicating with guys and making sure guys are in the right spots. And that honestly, the linebacker unit was the veteran spot on this defense, right? Where they've played together for quite some time. They're in lockstep. So Lou's probably relying on those guys to make sure that they get everybody set up and everybody in the right spots. And that just didn't happen all the time this year. Lawrence Pennington says biggest roster need is a healthy Joe Burrow. I agree. This team was built to compete with the Bills and Chiefs, but they seem to forget we're in the AFC North. Weak running game and defense. I think kind of going back to the drawing board and kind of just really humbling ourselves and getting back to what helped us propel us to that Super Bowl run before would definitely help. I think you have the pieces here. I think you have the players. Obviously, you can always add or retool and continue to add to this already stacked team. Um, but I think that's what the offseason is about. This should never be a point in time for an NFL team. Doesn't matter if it's the Bengals or another team where you sit by, you stand back and you're idle and you're like, okay, we're already set. The Bengals should go back to the drawing board and continue to add to the playbook and figure out things that do work. That's how you continue to evolve and continue to field a winner on the field. Somebody said, we're too passive last free agency. Were we too passive last free agency? I think so personally. Again, I just think that any team should be looking to add to their team every offseason. Never stay stagnant because while you're staying stagnant, there are teams in your division, teams in your conference that are getting better. The Bengals don't need to go out there and add a high ticketed price free agent, right? To take them over the top. That's not what they need. They can add a couple of, tier two, maybe tier three free agents that have the upside. And it can make a world of difference. It can make a world of difference, right? Who's to say you can't get a guy like Devin White, who's been a healthy scratch a couple times for the Buccaneers on a premium deal? I mean, on a cheap deal versus a premium deal versus spending a huge amount of money on a different position. For me, it's like there's going to be opportunities to upgrade this roster. This is the most important offseason in Bengals franchise history. And I know we say that all quite often, but truly it really is because you have questions at the receiver position, you have questions at the defensive position, on at the defensive tackle position. You might have to replace upwards to seven to nine starters. And this is a spot where it's pivotal, right? It's pivotal. So um, you'd ideally like to think that some of those players are on the team that can fill in those roles. But at the same time, you're leaving no stone unturned. That's what I'd be doing if I was Duke Tobin and company. I'd leave no stone unturned. I'd make sure that we have all our P's and Q's, all squared away. Brittany Austin, appreciate you, Britt. You're always here. Appreciate you, my friend. Tough loss. Wish we had kicked that field goal instead of going forward on fourth down. Might would have kept our momentum up. I agree. But I'm also never fault them for going for a win. Logan says Zach didn't call a bad game. 100% agree with you. How Keela the Great says, how wild is it to say the first four picks need to go to the trenches, both sides, Chop Robinson, Tavondre Sweat, Byron Murphy, first 3 rounds? I'm gleaming. Listen, if you can add and those type of players are there, why not, right? There's always an opportunity for that. Draft Brock Bowers. I like Brock Bowers a lot. The issue is I wonder, will there be another position of need there? Or not even a need, a premium position of someone that could help you there, right? Well, like if a standout 3 tech is there, if a standout edge rush is there, are you drafting a tight end over them? I don't know if I could tell myself that I'm doing that personally, especially when in free agency. The hope is you address the people that you need in free agency, you address, right? Like the tight end position should be a position you address in free agency. Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, those are the positions you need to address in free agency. Don't look to get your tight end in the draft and not waste a premium pick, because I don't think Brock Bowers would be a waste of a pick, but don't forsake a really, really good player, elite player, especially on the defensive side of the ball, for a tight end. That's just my thoughts. But I love Brock Bowers, and I'm a sucker for his game. Somebody said he runs hard as F. Yeah, I agree. Our defense does not have a true captain. All that shit talking about adding juice, you got cooked, Cam Taylor Britt. Wow. He's coming back from an injury as well. So yeah, I hear y'all fired up, man. I hear you. He says, we fired up, Malik. I'm fired up too, man. I love the passion. You guys know I'm gonna be live with you guys come hell or high water. Don't matter if the Bengals get out of the playoffs or not. We still have so much to look forward to. Draft coverage, player scouting. I'll be headed to the Super Bowl to cover Super Bowl Radio Row Weekend. I'll be at the NFL Combine, obviously answering all your questions and asking God prospects, did you meet with the Bengals? I'll be doing all that, as well as getting our betting content up more on this channel as well. So appreciate you guys keeping it locked with us. And I'm trying to fire off your questions a lot quicker. So bear with me. James Wright says, defense fare well today, but Zach going on fourth down to pick up first down was a mistake. Should have went for the end zone. Orlando has been good, but his money should have went to Bates overall better. Bates overall better T. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I kind of understand the semblance of what you're saying. I think we're being a little too hard on Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's been solid for the Bengals this year, guys. And again, I think it's going to be one of those things when we sit back, we're like, oh, damn, it's not too bad. Would you rather Jonah Williams at left tackle again, or would you rather Orlando Brown? That's my point. Brown hesitated because of the last week against Pittsburgh, where Burrow would not let that matter. Agreed. I think sometimes it's kind of hard in the quarterback position where you have things or things go awry, and it's kind of hard that to overlook that. That's why the true elite quarterbacks have short-term memory, and it's important for two positions: cornerback, quarterback. They have to have short-term memories, because if not, you can let they say in football, don't let a bad play beat you twice. It's important for Jake Browning to learn, and he will learn from this. Remember, guys, he's been in the league for 4 years, and he's been on practice squads. The only defense he's seen is a practice squad. He's going to learn over time. That is the hope. And if they talk, everything that comes out of Cincinnati is true about him, about how he's a quick learner, he's a good processor, he's a student of the game. I have no doubt that he will truly learn from this. And this experience that he has right now will serve him so much better going forward. I really believe that. Bengals have money. The ownership just acts like they don't. Cheap. Keeping the conversation rolling. I think the secondary just needs time. Lou system is not easy to jump into 100%. Malik, what are your top three needs heading into the offseason? I think right tackle, tight end, interior defensive line times three, keep Hill, get a twitched up edge, and draft a nose tackle. My premium positions of need, pass rush, pass rush, pass rush, and obviously tight end. But I'm screaming pass rush from the mountaintop. I'm screaming it. It's what the Bengals need right now, and you need more juice at it. You need to make sure that down the stretch, guys aren't getting gassed out. You want to make sure if a guy like Trey Hendrickson, who you signed to an extension, a reworked deal, is off the field, that you still are able to offer that up. And right now, you don't say that with confidence. Malik, can you give your take on why we won't draft correctly? Yeah, very, very small scouting department. They believe in not having a lot of cooks in the kitchens, but it's easy. Listen, when you're cheap and you're like, I mean this in a respectful way. I don't mean to be an idiot about this, but like when you're relying on coaches to go from coaching into the offseason to straight up scouting players, and it's a grind. It's a grind. And your scouting department is small and you rely on coaches' sons and family members to, be an extension of the scouting department. That's just such a backwards way of thinking. There are so many talented people that are going to school legitimately for this, and we're stuck in an age of nepotism where you just, oh well, your father is the coach for the team, or your father is part of the executive board, or you can just help us out with the scouting department. That's just asinine. They did it with Marvin Lewis's. They did it with this staff right here. So like, to me, it's just like you need to literally invest in adding more people to the scouting department. Let other people help. It's okay to have more cooks in the kitchen if everybody is bringing the right ideas. It's the reason why we might miss out on gyms and players that could help us in the long run. That's just my thoughts, though. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, though. Who's your targeted tier 3 free agents? Oh man, Noah Fant is one for me. I love Noah Fant. Hold that thought. I'm going to get to that question. Noah Fant is one of them. Are we saying wishful thinking, or Travis, are we saying wishful thinking? Or are we saying like, just in general, right? Because like again, I haven't really spoken to too many people in the building, especially about the free agency plans at all. Like that just isn't something that happens right now. But for me, Noah Fant, I would love Josh Allen in Cincinnati personally. Grew up with him, know that he would be an absolute monster here. I highly doubt the Jacksonville Jaguars let him walk. I think they offer him a boatload of money, and does he want to stay there? Who knows? But Noah Fant is a guy that I'm looking at right, like eyeing down right now. But we're good. We'll get to some more. Does Duke need to reevaluate his value for draft picks, especially if they aren't going to play the rookies right away anyway? I don't know. I think that they do a good job of letting the coaches coach. I don't think they say hey, you have to play this person or you can't play this person. Mike S says Jordan Battle is too slow in today's NFL. He got exposed tonight. He's a rookie, Mike. He's a rookie, man. Just, let's just give him a chance. Let's give him a chance. I don't think Jordan Battle is too slow, because in that case, you could say Von Bell. Like Von Bell is a completely different player than what he was in the beginning of his career. Like Saints fans thought he sucked in the beginning of his career. Like, and now we're like, we need John Von Bell back. Like, I think that Jordan Battle's ceiling is higher than Von Bell's. I think Jordan Battle is very athletic. I think Jordan Battle can offer a lot. I think he's also a rookie. And I think that's the reason why Lou also subs in Nick Scott as well, to probably slow down the processing for him. Although I don't agree with that. I think Jordan Battle is going to be just fine. I really do. O-line depth is still needed. Needs all around. Might have another safety. I can get behind that. Did you watch Turner in the last Pittsburgh game? I did watch him. I watch him in every game. Misfit 85 says, got two questions. One, do we keep Higgins, or what can we get from him? Two, do we get rid of the staff and rebuild and replace a scheme that fit talent? I don't think they get rid of the staff. As far as T. Higgins, I think T. Higgins is franchise tagged. Draft is for best player available, for agencies for filling holes. Agreed. New punter, please. That's interesting. Do we need a new punter? That's interesting. I like those questions. I love the questions. Mahomes look average. Mahomes is this God tier that they've put Mahomes on, this God level of play of quarterback, and how no one can dare challenge the throne has been widely been a misconception. I think Travis Kelce has done a lot to help his game. I think Travis Kelce looks very old out there too. And I just think that Mahomes isn't as untouchable as a quarterback as many people have made him out to be. That's just my thoughts. No matter how much Tony Romo drools over him or Jim Nantz drools over him, the fact is, I think Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback. I think he's a fine quarterback. But I also, there's a reason why I sat up on the show last year and I said, um, I do see holes in his game. I do see holes in his game. And when those home run threats aren't available, when you don't have the receivers like Tyreek Hill to take the top of the defense, where you can't rely solely on just your athleticism and your arm talent all the time, and you have to rely on your processing and your ability to pre-snap, post-snap reads, I think sometimes it rears its ugly head. But I digress. Um, People are talking trash about Orlando Brown Jr. as if he didn't stabilize the left tackle for the first time since Andrew Whitworth. He's been solid. Agreed. James Courtney, are you a Bengals or Chiefs fan? If you're a Bengals fan, you're crazy. Didn't see what he said. We won that game with Burrow. We win that game with Burrow. We dominate the game without Zach. You guys know how I feel. You guys know how I feel. Yeah. We as fans need to figure out how we can come together to support players by forcing the front office to make meaningful changes in their tactics. I agree. I think the fans have a lot more power than they think they do. Dax Hill, make or break year. Give Hakeem Davis Gaither a chance. Jordan Battle, breakout year. Hakeem Davis Gaither's probably, that ship of sail is probably going to go on and probably want to be a starter somewhere else. Dax Hill, I don't think is make or break. Malik, did the fan base underestimate the loss of Bell and Bates? Yes. Being cheap just shifts your expenses from your pocketbook to your health of your players and your legacy as a team. This year, coaches will have an extra month to scout. Yeah, it's been a while since the Bengals season has ended early, so that could help. Malik, how worried are you about the Bengals drafting / offseason? They were in a similar spot in 2015 and completely sold. One of the worst free agencies in NFL history, in my opinion. They failed to draft late. I agree. I would say my concern level is very moderate. Gotta give them a chance, right? This is more time to scout, more time to really be in on some of these players and see what they can offer up. I I think that it's definitely difficult. Obviously, it's when your scouting department is so small. It is difficult to find gems. It is difficult to um, draft in their instances, and unless it's like a home run pick. But at the same time, I still have hope for Miles Murphy. I'm not ready to say Miles Murphy was a bad pick. I know when you see the production of Sam Laporta, it's easy to sort of gauge that and say we should have drafted Sam Laporta, but nobody could have expected Sam Laporta to have the season that he has had, even though he's kind of cooled off recently. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Uh, exactly. If enough fans come together to bring the health, the heat, they'll be forced to stop ignoring the wildfire resulting from their priorities being piss poor. Agreed. Higgins tag and trade is the move. But you got to ask yourself at that one point, the Bengals are the hardest team in the National Football League to trade with. If they're not fleecing you, respectfully, it's our team. If they're not fleecing you, they ain't trading with you. And, you better be ready to, if you call Cincinnati for a guy like T. Higgins, you better be willing to give up an arm and a leg, and as well as extending T. Higgins, because that's what it's going to cost to, obviously get a trade through. Lamar is God mode now. Lamar is playing on a different level, I would say. Travis Kelce and his overrated girlfriend. mm, uh, uh, it was a bad taste in the mouth seeing that fast food commercial about him not expecting to win, but really he did. Browning is coming down to earth. Last 2 game, he sucks. What do you think about Volson's performance overall? I think Volson is starting to end the season a little stronger than he started, obviously. Let's judge him after next year, though. Was Laporta the one whose footage showed him as having expected to go to the Bengals, but they didn't? I don't remember. I am not all the way sold on Dax. Maybe I'm comparing Jesse in the first year. I know it's early, but what are your thoughts on his development this year? I think Dax showed a promise in spots in which ideally, this was his rookie year at the position. You kind of want to see him continue to develop over time. But I wouldn't again, I would say that I would say I'm gonna give all these guys another year and a chance because this team is just gelling together. It's a young defense. It's a young defense, right? Jordan Battle is young, Dax Hill is young, and they're only gonna get better over time. I know we all want quick results, but these guys are young. Um, all those explosive plays came in the third quarter. Bengals got some killing call. The officiating was trash. The intentional grounding hurt us in our attempt to come back. Yeah, I agree to some degree. Name a dream free agent, defensive player, and an offensive player you would add. I think I already said it. I think uh, Josh Allen for me would be a dream add. Offensive player, not really. Noah Fant. I think that would be it makes the most sense. It would clear up 2 big needs, right? Pass rush and tight end, which is something, you know, something that would be awesome. Browning is who most thought he was. Yeah. Bro, that run defense wasn't that great with Reader. It was it definitely struggled at points this year because Reader can't do everything by himself. Yep, they got better. Chicken Genius need a real AFC North defensive tackle. Next year, Super Bowl in New Orleans, Burrow revenge season incoming. I'm gonna put an unhealthy amount of money on that. Just be honest with you. I'm just telling you guys in advance. So um, I mean, yes, defense wins championships, but it's cliche, but it's true. Chris Jones or Josh Allen? Give me Josh Allen. I would take Josh Allen over Chris Jones. I would. Um, okay, can we actually, without joking or brushing it off, talk about Bengals' chances of actually having Justin Jefferson on the team at some point too? There have been way too many Easter eggs by them in the media. Hope the Bengals learned a valuable lessons this year and win it all next year, Malik. I hope so too. But let me go back to the last question, guys. There's two parts to this with Justin Jefferson. It's the will the Vikings allow him, right? Will the Vikings even be willing to part ways with him and move off of him? And then what is it going to take? Jamar Chase has said if he would love to play with Justin Jefferson, but it was probably going to take him and Justin Jefferson both taking a pay cut, which he's willing to do. Can't speak for Justin Jefferson, don't know. So I think it's very challenging. We all would love to see Justin Jefferson reunited with Joe Burrow, reunited with Jamar Chase, a lot like Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham did with Cleveland, hopefully with better results. But it's such a tough thing to say, it's a nice thing to talk about, especially with contracts starting to come into play, especially with the Bengals potentially might needing a number 2 at some point. But at the same time, how realistic is it, right? How realistic is it? That's only a question that can even, I think to even have that discussion, we have to wait until what happens with the Vikings. The Vikings get signed to an extension, sayonara ain't happening probably until he's 30 something. If there's a chance of it happening. Until then, let's just admire both of their games. Justin Jefferson's a phenomenal wide receiver who's on the Vikings. Jamar Chase is a phenomenal wide receiver that's on the Bengals. And right now we have T. Higgins, who's a damn good wide receiver as well. So let's just focus on that. That's just my thoughts. No way Justin Jefferson leaves the Vikings. He didn't sign an extension. We didn't say he did. We said we got to figure out what happens with him with the Minnesota Vikings. Somebody said Joe Alt. Yeah, Joe Alt was a great tackle. I like him a lot. Yeah, I know Totes, the cap hit would be big and it would rely on pay cuts, but I don't know. It just seemed like they upped each other. They upped each of them hinting at it this year for some reason. I think everybody wants to see that, right? And I especially think in the day and age right now where the NFL players are trying to gain a lot more control, a lot like NBA players. I think you're going to see more players, starting to play together. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, the NFL is an owners league. The NBA is a players league. The NBA, a guy like Kevin Durant, respectfully, if he wanted to, he could say, I want to play. He could say, I want to play with LeBron James. He can say, I want to play with LeBron James. And people will laugh, people will scoff. But if you hammer the table enough because it's a player league and people start clamoring on, the media starts picking up on it, it'll happen. It'll happen. It's the reason like when Kevin Durant said, hey, I want to go play for the Suns. And the Suns didn't have any of the assets to offer a guy like that. And what do you know? Got enough pounding the table for it. And then you get in the tea leaves. I will not play for any other team but said team. Eventually, in a players league, it'll break through. The players in the NFL right now are trying to gain more control, a lot like the NBA players of their league. It's the reason why a guy like Odell Beckham, it's the reason why guys like Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, those guys, the last couple of years have been really trying to control the narrative of where they go. Some have been successful at it. It really depends on your star power. It really depends on your star power. If you're willing to force a league's hand, a team's hand, and you say, hey, I want to play with a certain player, the thing is, the NFL has so much control over players. There's so many franchise tags and transition tags and options and contracts that it's very, very difficult to sort of get what you want. Whereas to the NBA, it's a little looser. So it's tough to say a guy like Justin Jefferson, no matter how bad he might want to come play with Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, a lot of it is depending on the team and if the team is willing to do that. And then you have to ask yourself, would the Bengals trade for him? And I can tell you that right now. No, they wouldn't. Unless, again, it's a no-brainer for them because they're the hardest team to trade with in the National Football League. Burrow is a star. I mean, look at him. He's the James Dean of the NFL. Think they tag T unless we trade him for something we need. I think they tagged T Higgins, which is so sad because of how much they put their bodies on the line. We have so much less to to have so much less agency. Somebody said, "Can I dream Chris Jones or Chase Young?" Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think Chase Young is that much of a pipe dream, I'll be honest with you, because I don't know if his value will be as high. I mean, you have that the second round pick tag, the second overall pick tag always, where that'll guarantee you a second contract. But it's it. I don't know if his value will be as high unless the team is like, you know what, I'll pay you a crazy amount of money because I believe in your potential and what you could bring to this team. What's my grade on DJ Turner? I think DJ Turner has been a solid B. Chase Young is a possibility, 100%. T. Higgins for Josh Allen. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Fits the Bengals' liking. Chris Jones is a possibility. It's his last year, correct? I don't know. I mean, does he want to be here? Does he want to play here in Cincinnati? It's a lot of, you know, there's a lot to that. And what is he going to command? 20 million a year? Isn't that what he's making right now? I think like 21 million a year, 18 million a year, something like that. We're dreaming for wash players. Lord help us. Oh my God. Can Nick Scott be released this offseason? I'd rather have Tyson. I think he can be released. Obviously, it'll be a little bit of a penalty, but he definitely can be released, especially since the way the Bengals frame their contracts. A lot of their money is tied up right up, to start off, not a lot of guarantees over the course. That's the way they like to have it. What's your grade on our draft picks, and do you think they've been used to the best of their potential? I think opportunities determine if they've been used to the best potential. I don't think that all the opportunities have been there for a guy like Myles Murphy. I don't think all the opportunities earlier on, at least, were there for Jordan Battle. He was sharing a lot of the safety spot with Nick Scott. I would give DJ Turner a B. I would give Myles Murphy a C. I would give Chase Brown a B, I would say. I would give Chase Brown a solid B. DJ Ivy TBD. Did I say Jordan Battle yet? No, Jordan Battle I would give a C plus too. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. Am I missing people? I feel like I'm missing people. Charlie Jones. Oh man, TBD. Andre Yoshivas, C minus. Brad Robbins, he's a D. He's a D for me. That's just it for me. You got to find the stubbornness in the front office to make that move. Yeah. With that being said, he's not a bad season, not a franchise worst by any means. The hard work of the Bengals this year, get some rest and come back harder next year. Yep. Who's the unsung hero of this season? BJ Hill. I think BJ Hill has played great this year, and I feel like it goes under the radar. BJ Hill has made a lot of big plays for the Bengals this year, and I really, really have been impressed with him. But I also think Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon has been the most consistent offensive player the Bengals have had this year. And I think that there have been times where we've taken the ball out of his hands. But he's been a guy that has shown up juice week in and week out. In whether his role was maximized or limited, he's shown up. And I don't know why people are so quick to move off of him. Maybe just a bad stain within Cincinnati, maybe a bad stain in the media. I have no idea. But I think that for how this team has been reluctant to run the ball at times this year, and what he's given this team, I think that he should get more respect personally. They took a nosedive after Jesse Bates balled out on a bad Atlanta team. Robbins needs to be released. Odds that Trey Hendrickson lead in league in sacks tying next week. That's gonna be interesting. Taylor Britt was a stud this year. Yeah, injury definitely held him back. There was some, he definitely improved from a coverage standpoint. Joe Mixon showed some extra burst this year, but he can't pass block. I agree. Can't disagree with that about Mixon. I just think Chase Brown should get the running back spot. I understand. Yeah, I mean, this was definitely an interesting year, I would say, for the Bengals. If you guys could do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel as well, and turn on post notifications. Chief KT, you guys are the weirdest fan base. You guys just won. You just beat Jake Browning and the Bengals, and you're in a chat. You're in a Bengals talk show chatting. It's weird to me. That was like after the Super Bowl, you guys were just like upset with everyone. It's like, man, be happy, be excited. You guys just won. Why are you here? Is your life that bad? I hope it gets better for you next year. I really hope it gets better for you next year, my man. Um, but anyway, uh, Cam Taylor Britt had a nice breakout year before injury. I think next year he makes it known around the league that he is a bona fide cornerback one. Um, yeah, man, I think that I think Cam Taylor Britt will definitely has a lot to build upon for sure. Cheeto gone, I am sure. Yeah, I think it all depends on what the offers are. Anyone in the draft you're eyeing, Malik? There's a couple of players. I'm gonna hold that a little close to the vest a little bit because I definitely am excited for some of the mock drafts. You guys know we'll be doing our war room shows this year as well. Somebody said it's pretty boring in Missouri. Not gonna lie. Are we keeping T? Franchise tag, I believe. Just got here and we have to rebuild the defense with 80 million under the cap. It can happen. Um, on the bright side, the Bengals have a better chance to get Jerzon Newton in the draft. Jerzon Newton's a problem. I love Jerzon Newton. It's weird. I don't know if he goes by Jerzon Newton, he goes by other names as well, because I've seen a couple. I've seen JoJo Newton, Joseph Newton. I've seen people call him some of the weirdest names. Um, I'm looking for real honest Dax Hill takes. Yeah, we were very honest on Dax Hill. We definitely think that there was a lot to build upon. Definitely think there was some issues um where he's just a young player, you know. So I think that I think the jury is still out. I think we need to give him another year fully. Again, in the Rumo system, which is a difficult one to learn before we're ready to just say he's one thing or the other, honestly. Because there were spots at times, even when Jesse Bates on his last run here in Cincinnati, I want to say the year before his end of year, where he struggled a little bit as well. We're losing any coordinators next year. I highly doubt it. If we were to lose one, I would think it would be Brian Callahan. I don't see Lou getting a head coaching job. Um, um, yeah, that intentional grounding seemed to be the final call in the offensive motivation. Yeah, I mean, when you that was an egregious call. That was bad. I'm not the one that's big. I don't really like to complain about bad calls, but that was a bad call, right? It was clearly he was throwing to a receiver in the area. His hand was going forward. Like I just don't. I didn't personally get it, but I've seen way more egregious, um, quote unquote, a quarterback attempting to throw the football away. Somebody said we have no starting caliber cornerbacks as of right now. Cam Taylor Britt is, but we have seen half year. I doubt that. I think DJ Turner has showed a lot this year. James Rice says, Happy New Year. Reality is set in, though, brother Malik. Go Bengals, and Zach has to get better with his personal choices and play calling. Wow. If the announcers both disagreed, oof, bad calling indeed. Honorable lost his chance at a coaching job. I agree. Which player got the most potential ahead of next season? I'm going to give you two. I'll give you one on offense and one on defense. Player that has the most potential ahead of next season. I won't take the cop out and say obviously Jamar, because I don't think Jamar Chase has reached his full potential yet. Um, man, you're making me think here. Player that has the most potential. Marissa, help me out here. Who's a player that has the most potential on everyone's high on Chase Brown. Chase Brown has a lot of potential. I'm gonna take the cop out. I'm gonna say players that have the most potential. I think Dax Hill has a lot of untapped potential. I also think DJ Turner has a lot of untapped potential. Offense, I think offense for me, I don't know. Chase Brown does have potential, but I don't. I need to see if I need to see if if Chase Brown has starting running back one upside. I'm not convinced of that just yet. I think he has strong running back two upside. I don't know if he has strong. I don't know if he has strong starting back running RB1 upside. That's just my opinion. Hopefully, the fan base doesn't just bombard Browning with negativity and blame. Honestly, he seemed like a big force behind turning around the complete desolation that was 9 going down. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Anyway, listen, guys, I want to just tell you this before we head out of here. I'm thankful for you guys. You guys know I moved here to Cincinnati last year, and covering the Bengals has been completely awesome. Covering the NFL has been awesome. Covering the UFC, all that in total has been pretty awesome. But none of this possible without your support. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every State of the Jungle episode, every recap show, every betting show I've done, and everything that we've done here. I greatly appreciate you guys. Every sit down show, because none of this is possible without you guys. You guys make it honestly fun. I'm looking forward to, obviously, we still have another recap show to go with the Bengals game. Oh man, I appreciate Chicken Geniuses. I could do this all night, Malik. It's by far my favorite Bengals show. I appreciate you, man. Where was I saying? What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. But I appreciate you guys because again, the season didn't plan out the way we wanted it to, but we'll be back, going live every single Wednesday, every single all, throughout the entire off season for recap shows. We'll be doing some film breakdowns. We'll be dissecting some guys that are coming out of the draft. You guys got to keep it locked to the channel for Super Bowl radio coverage and talking to various different people on the channel as well. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Come hell or high water. Doesn't matter if the Bengals look great. Doesn't matter if the Bengals look horrible. You guys still show up. You guys still support week in and week out. And, I think I speak for the entire First Star Logistics crew. Evan, Logan, Daniel, myself, Marissa. We appreciate you guys because none of this is possible without you guys. Until then, though, I want you guys to enjoy your New Year's. Don't drink too much. Don't get into any trouble. Enter 2024 with a bang. Set your goals out. If there are goals that you have, write them down, knock them down, accomplish it. Don't wait until, tomorrow to start creating good habits. You could start today, and just know that if there's something you want to do in your life, everything is there right in front of you. Everything is there for the taking. So I want to wish all of y'all a happy new year, a healthy new year. Spend it with your loved ones, your friends, your family. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2024. I'll be back live on Wednesday for another episode of State of the Jungle as we look ahead. As we look ahead to Bengals versus Browns, because we still got one more game we got to talk about. We still got one more game we got to talk about, and we still got to talk about what we're looking for the rest of the season. But